Have you ever noticed how some people never post online? No stories, no tweets, no updates, and yet they're always watching. It almost feels mysterious, doesn't it? In an age where everyone's shouting into the digital void for attention, the people who stay silent online seem to break an unspoken rule. And here's the twist. Maybe they're the ones who actually get it. See, the psychology of silence isn't about shyness. It's often about awareness. While most users are caught in the web of validation seeking and social media anxiety, silent observers move differently. They're not playing the same game. They understand the traps of the attention economy, the pressure to perform, and the subtle toll on mental health. Instead of oversharing, they're mastering self-reflection and mindful social media use. But here's where it gets fascinating. Does staying quiet online mean someone's disconnected, or deeply connected in ways others miss? Are they escaping social withdrawal, or are they practicing a kind of digital minimalism that protects their peace and self-worth? Today, we're diving into the human psychology behind people who don't post online, those deep thinkers who prefer observing over performing. And by the end of this video, you might see silence in a whole new light. The hidden strength behind silence online. When someone doesn't post on social media, people often assume they're insecure, antisocial, or just not interesting. But that assumption says more about us than about them. In truth, there's a quiet strength in restraint. The psychology of silence reveals that many who stay quiet online are deeply self-aware. They're not chasing likes or validation. They're protecting their inner space. In an era where attention equals currency, their refusal to spend it carelessly is an act of confidence, not fear. Think about it. While most users scroll endlessly, comparing lives and curating highlight reels, the silent ones observe patterns. They practice digital minimalism, consuming intentionally, not compulsively. Maybe they're the friend who doesn't post a photo every time they travel but knows exactly what's trending, or the colleague who reads every comment section without ever typing a word. They've learned that silence can be a strategy, not a symptom. And there's something almost rebellious about that, isn't there? In a world built on oversharing, choosing to stay quiet online is like breaking the matrix. It's a small form of freedom, a rejection of the attention economy. The psychology of introverts and deep thinkers often shows this subtle wisdom. They find meaning in observing, not performing. But here's the question. Is this silence a conscious choice, or a coping mechanism born from something deeper? When silence comes from overthinking and social media anxiety, sometimes silence isn't strength, it's survival. Many people who stay quiet online aren't doing it out of confidence but out of fear of judgment. Social media psychology shows how overthinking and social comparison can paralyze even the most thoughtful users. Before posting, they'll question everything. What if this sounds dumb? What if nobody reacts? That mental loop leads to social media anxiety, a subtle but exhausting cycle of self-censorship that eats away at self-worth and authenticity online. You've probably seen it. Someone types a heartfelt caption, then deletes it before hitting post. It's not that they don't have something to say, it's that the internet makes them second-guess the value of their voice. The attention economy rewards noise, not nuance, and for deep thinkers, that feels unnatural. Their inner dialogue often turns into quiet people's psychology in motion, choosing safety over exposure, observation over participation. But here's the twist. This silence can become a mirror for self-reflection. It forces people to ask why they seek validation in the first place. That's where self-awareness begins, understanding the triggers that keep them from expressing themselves. And that realization? It can turn anxiety into emotional intelligence. Still, it raises a powerful question. What happens when silence becomes isolation and reflection turns into social withdrawal? The thin line between solitude and loneliness. There's a fine balance between choosing solitude and falling into loneliness, and on social media, that line can blur fast. People who don't post online might feel like they're just taking a social media detox, but sometimes that silence masks emotional exhaustion. The human psychology behind it shows that even the most introverted mind craves connection. But in an age of curated perfection, reaching out can feel like walking into a stage where everyone's performing a version of themselves. Quiet people often use their silence as a shield. They scroll, observe, and analyze online behavior, but rarely engage. They convince themselves they're just watching, yet deep down, they might be yearning to be understood. It's the paradox of digital minimalism, protecting your peace but risking disconnection. Think of the friend who never replies in group chats or the coworker who ghosts social media for months. They may not be indifferent, they may just be overwhelmed by the noise. Still, solitude can be incredibly powerful when it's conscious. Those who learn to sit with their own thoughts without spiraling into overthinking and social media anxiety often discover something profound: peace. That's the quiet confidence behind mindful communication and emotional intelligence. But the big question is, how do you turn solitude into growth, not isolation? The power of observation, learning without posting. Here's something most people miss. Those who stay silent online aren't just scrolling, they're studying. The psychology of people who don't post online often reveals a pattern of mindful observation. They notice trends before they explode, detect authenticity versus performance, and read the emotional tone of conversations without ever typing a word. That's not passivity, it's perception. They're building emotional intelligence by watching human behavior unfold in real time. Think about it like this. While others are chasing followers, silent observers are mastering awareness. They see how validation seeking drives the attention economy and how online identity shapes confidence. This kind of observation can lead to personal development and even better communication in real life. For example, someone who watches online debates without engaging learns how people argue, react, and express emotion, and can later use that insight to navigate real conversations with more clarity and empathy. It's almost like being an undercover psychologist of internet culture. These people practice self-help psychology by using social media as a mirror for human nature, not a stage for performance. Yet this quiet awareness comes with a choice. Will they stay forever behind the screen, or use their insight to show up more authentically online and offline? Finding authenticity and confidence in silence. At some point, silence stops being just observation. It becomes transformation. People who stay silent online often undergo a subtle kind of self-growth journey. They begin to realize that confidence and silence aren't opposites, they're partners. By stepping away from the noise, they rediscover what truly matters: authenticity, self-worth, and mindful social media use. Instead of performing, they begin creating from a place of peace. That's where real confidence is born, not from applause, but from alignment. You can spot it when someone returns after a long break, posting something raw and real, maybe a reflection about mental health awareness or a thought about self-reflection. It's not for attention anymore, it's to express truth. This shift represents emotional maturity, the moment when silence evolves into intention. It's the psychology of introverts meeting the power of presence, where online behavior mirrors personal development. So maybe the ones who don't post aren't hiding, they're preparing. Their quiet phase is like a cocoon, a pause before emergence. When they speak again, it's often with depth that shakes others awake. And perhaps that's the final paradox of social media psychology. Sometimes, the loudest voices come from those who've mastered the art of silence. So, after everything we've uncovered about the psychology of silence and mindful social media use, the question becomes, what does your silence say about you? Are you hiding, healing, or observing? Maybe you're redefining what connection really means in a world obsessed with noise. Remember, stepping back doesn't mean you've disappeared. It means you've chosen depth over display, awareness over attention. That's not weakness, that's evolution. If you've ever felt drained by social media anxiety or trapped in the attention economy, take this as a sign to pause. Reflect on your online behavior. Ask yourself, am I posting to connect or to be seen? Am I scrolling to learn or to escape? These small questions can change everything. They turn digital minimalism into mindful communication and silence into a superpower. So here's your challenge. Next time you feel the urge to post, pause for a second. Ask yourself what your intention is. And if this video made you think, if it helped you see social media and mental health in a new light, don't just scroll away. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep diving deeper into the raw self-help and human psychology that shape who we are online and off.